from Blue Lotus Films. I'm so happy to be with you all today. I am really excited to get started today talking about a lot of news in AI and in video marketing. I want to let you know I'm trying things out here on my channel and on this podcast, this video podcast. I've started using Riverside FM. I'm testing it out. And if I like it, I'll continue to use it for this live stream. And if you're joining the replay, thank you so much. You're welcome to come back on my channel anytime. Check out this replay as well as the past replays from the past few weeks. I have them all in a playlist for you. But let's go ahead and get into the news from this week. So I'm going to give you an overview of what I'm going to be covering in this podcast. And then we'll dive into each of the topics. I also have a demo for you at the end, and I'll share with you what that demo is going to be, but you're going to want to stick around for this video demo because I think this particular tool is really helpful, and it just was released in a widespread way. It was a very limited release, but I'll just give you a little heads up. This is from Google. It's a new video application from Google. Okay, so that's going to be at the very end of this live stream. But let's just go over the news that we have. So the first topic, I'm going to be talking about YouTube Shorts machine learning. There has been some news that YouTube has been using YouTube Shorts to use machine learning on YouTube Shorts, and this is without the consent of creators. So we're going to get into the controversy surrounding that and what that has meant for creators recently. The second piece of news is about the YouTube hype feature that recently became widespread, spreading out in many different countries throughout the world. I'll dive into that. We'll also talk about YouTube Creates, which is YouTube's editing app that's available on Android. There's been some updates to that app. And I'm also going to talk about Skylight, a social media app that is very different from TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. And we'll kind of just weigh the pros and cons on whether we all should start using Skylight today and talk about what this app is. Many of you may have not ever heard of Skylight. So you'll learn about what Skylight is. It's gaining in popularity as we're approaching the potential ban of TikTok in less than a month. And then at the very end, I am going to go over the release of Google Vids. So that's the name of Google's recent editing app that they have released in a widespread way. It is free, and I'll talk about the pros and cons of this app, as well as give you a demo because it was just released today, the free version that anybody can use. So I would love, to kind of dive into it. I just looked at it today, and we can look at it together and see what we can create on Google Vids. All right, so the first topic, YouTube is using machine learning on shorts. And what does that mean? So machine learning is a subset of AI. And so they're not using heavy AI. That's the best way to say it. It's not like they're altering the content of people's shorts. But there has been an experiment that YouTube has been using, and they started to have this experiment broaden. So they were doing this experiment on a lot more YouTube shorts. And the reason that YouTube said they were doing this was simply to unblur, denoise, and improve the clarity of videos during the processing. And so just essentially sharpening the video quality. YouTube stated that the intention was just to enhance the user experience and to help creators who may not have professional camera equipment. So it sounds to me like this was a very kind of good intention for YouTube. But unfortunately, creators who did see this happen on their content, they said, no way, you didn't even ask us permission. Why is this happening? when, we did not opt into this. So because of that controversy, and I believe this was happening with some of the bigger creators, and thank you for those who are typing in the chat and joining me today. I really appreciate all of you. So essentially what happened is YouTube had to backtrack. And this rarely happens on YouTube. So they said they stopped the experiment and they are only going to do it if creators opt in, which I think was a very smart move by YouTube, because YouTube has a great reputation. Am I wrong? Like, compared to most of the social networks, YouTube has a reputation of really respecting creators' wishes and, really getting people to understand what they're doing in advance. So they don't typically release features and then backtrack on it. But this was one example. And thankfully, they did it very quickly. So they're no longer doing that without users being able to opt in. So keep an eye out. And there are videos on YouTube. You can see, I think some creators have shared what happened to their videos, how they noticed that that YouTube was altering their videos, and they will be able to show you in those videos. I am not certain that I would love to screen share and show you some of those videos right now, but I don't have the permission of those creators, so I'm not going to share those videos without their permission. Okay, so the next piece of news from YouTube, there's quite a few pieces of news from YouTube this week. The next big piece of news from YouTube is that they have released their long-awaited feature called Hype. And let me explain what Hype is. If you have not heard of the Hype feature, this is a feature that YouTube announced was going to be released. They had announced it last year, and we've been waiting. I, in particular, have been waiting for this release. So it's now 8 months, almost 9 months into 2025, and they finally released this in a widespread way. It was, of course, with all the YouTube features, they're testing it out in limited markets. The Hype feature, to be specific, is a feature where viewers can rally around creators and let everyone know that that creator's video is worth watching. And then videos with the most hype points each week will appear on a country-specific leaderboard that's ranked by top hype videos from the viewers in that country. So it's only available to channels in the partner program, so channels that are monetized, and you have to have between 500 and 500,000 subscribers to be eligible for this feature. Okay, if you go on to YouTube, you should be able to see it on the left-hand side of the user interface. You will see Hype listed, and you can go into the Hype page and you can see what videos have been hyped in your country. And then you should be able to see a Hype button on videos that qualify for the partner program and qualify to have that button available, and then you can hype the videos. Now, there is a limit. You can only hype up to 3 videos per week, and you can only hype videos that have been published in the last 7 days. Okay, let me share a link here. I think we can do a screen share just to give you a little visual. I'm gonna put any link that I'm sharing in the chat. So there it is. And I want to screen share this for you. Why not? Screen sharing is fun. So let's get this going here. Okay, so here we go. This is the YouTube blog. You can see here, this is Hype. You can also listen to this article if you want. It is now available in 39 countries. So check out if your country is in the list, but it's now widely available. If it isn't in your country for some reason, it is going to be coming soon. So again, here's some of the features: a dedicated hype button that's right under the video, a hyped badge will appear on videos across YouTube, making it easier to get noticed. And then you can filter your home feed with the hyped category. Now, for creators, you can see how many hypes and hype points you have for each video. And then you can check your video analytics for a new hype card and a recap in your stories, so you can see how well people are hyping your videos. So there's a couple things I want to say about this. I think the hype feature is really fascinating, and I think it's a great idea that we're giving an opportunity for quote unquote smaller creators to be discovered within YouTube without solely relying on the algorithm. So they're relying on their fan base, relying on people that enjoy their video content to be able to spread their videos throughout the YouTube ecosystem. Now, the downside to that, to me, is that you do have to be monetized. So what that means is, any of us, my channel is not monetized yet. I've passed the 1,000 threshold, but I'm still working on the 4,000 watch hours. So for those of us that aren't in the partner program, it just means we got to continue going along and working really hard and, just doing everything with SEO, consistent video content. I was hopeful that maybe they would allow some smaller creators, but I do see YouTube's perspective that it doesn't really make sense to let everybody into the program. There has to be some kind of criteria. Let me clarify, it doesn't make sense to have everyone being able to access that hype feature. But for those that can access it, I think, it is a great way to potentially help those channels grow. And by the way, it's between 500 and 500,000 subscribers, but YouTube is leveling the playing field. So they are letting the smaller creators that have, a lesser number of subscribers, when someone hypes their video, they get a boost in their hype point. So it's not like, oh, of course, channels with 500,000 or 100,000 subscribers, they're going to get a lot more people hyping their videos. So obviously it's going to be a lot easier for them to get on the leaderboard. But essentially what YouTube is doing is leveling the playing field. And I think that's a good thing. So let's see how this plays out. Let me know if you're going to use that feature. If you're a viewer and if you're a creator, what do you think of this? Are you eager to see how your fans are going to use it? And do you think it's going to be good for your channel? I would love to hear your thoughts on this. So yeah, let me know what you are thinking. I'm really, really curious. And I always come back and I reply to comments. So let's keep the conversation going. Okay, so let's move on to our next piece of news here, which is about YouTube Creates, the editing app by YouTube. Okay, so YouTube Creates is currently only available on Android. But the news with YouTube Creates is that they have added some new video templates. And I will show that in a minute. But these templates will include easy to follow guides and add-on features like royalty-free music to match your project. And really the advantages of YouTube Creates, from the research that I have done, YouTube Creates is giving more user templates. And that's always a good thing, because a lot of people that are new to video production, they really have a hard time, getting that brainstorming going. What am I going to do? What am I going to create? Which piece of footage do I start with? And how do I piece all of these pieces of all these clips together? And the graphics, it's also overwhelming. So it seems like all of the mobile editing apps these days are very savvy, and they know that lots of people like templates. They want to be able to have something that they click and a specific style that has already been created for them. So I think that is going to be the advantage of YouTube Creates in this latest rollout, this latest update. But I will say that it's sad. Why is it only available on Android? I'm an iPhone user. I've never been able to see this app. I use CapCut. I use Instagram Edits. They're both fantastic apps. I am right now slightly preferring Edits. And both of those apps have templates as well. But again, if you're an Android user, you know, more templates is a good thing. So let's look at this Google Play. Let's look at the App Store where it shows some images. Let me just paste this in the chat here. So this is where you would get it in the App Store. I just pasted that in the chat. And I am going to screen share this because I want to show you guys so you can see it directly. So let's go ahead and look at it. So here it is in the App Store. It does still say that it's in beta, but we can look at some of the images here. So of course, it's easy to use, syncs your video to music. I mean, this is not new. Like all of the mobile editing apps do this. So royalty-free songs, Edits has that, CapCut has that, dynamic transitions, of course. Edits has it, CapCut has 1 million transitions. That's why people love these apps. So yeah, YouTube Creates is competing. Unique filters and effects, of course, captions, yes, checkbox, okay. But, you know, what they've shared in the recent news is that they are having a lot more templates for people. So check it out and, you know, just let me know if this is something that is appealing to you. And if you are using it, do you like the Edits app? I would love to hear from you. Okay, so let's move on to our next piece of news here. Let's see here. I got a lot of news. I'm looking at my notes here. All right, so the next piece of news I want to talk about is Skylight Social. Have you guys heard of Skylight Social? I have recently been hearing about it because I've been researching for this podcast and researching just out of my own genuine interest to see what apps out there could potentially compete with TikTok. If TikTok does end up getting banned in the US, of course, this is just US potential ban, but there's a good chance, you know, we just don't know. We cannot count on TikTok being around until the end of this year or even in the next 2 months. We don't know what's going to happen. So let me tell you about Skylight. Skylight is a startup that is part of the Blue Sky network. And basically, this is a different approach to social media. So do you guys remember Tumblr and the early days of Twitter? So in those early days of social media, everything was not driven by the algorithm. And the algorithm wasn't as advanced as it is now, mostly because there were less people using the social apps, but they did operate in a different way. Like Tumblr was user driven. So Skylight is following that same mentality and that same approach of having video be user driven. And so specifically what they're doing is they are not having an algorithmic main feed. They are building a community of human creators. And these human creators will post and repost videos to build out their own custom feeds that others can subscribe to. So I had to kind of wrap my head around this. What do they mean by human curation? Like, it's actually funny that I had to sit there and think about that for a little bit, because I understand the idea of curation, but I was like, wait a second. Are you serious? Like, there's no main algorithm. That is actually really fascinating and I think really appealing to a lot of people who are really, really sick of these algorithms and the fact that they're changing all the time. So it's about building trust with a community. So the people that like my content or your content will share it naturally with other people, and they'll create a list of curated videos that they'll share to their audience, and that's the entire platform. Now, let me give a caveat here. I tried downloading Skylight. I had to sign up. One of the good things is if you do use Blue Sky throughout any of their ecosystem, there's a lot of different apps that Blue Sky has. And if you use any of those apps, then you can log in to Skylight with your Blue Sky login. So that makes it, easier for people to sign up. But I just want to say that, I tried downloading the Skylight app and it crashed on me. I haven't yet been able to experiment with it and to really see what this app is all about, but I'm really, really curious. So Mark Cuban is a serial entrepreneur. For those who don't know, he's a serial entrepreneur based in the US, and he's investing in Skylight. And one of the appealing things about it is the decentralization. So there isn't a central place that all of your data is stored. A lot of people like that, kind of decentralized social media. I have mixed feelings, I'm not so concerned about my data, but other people are, I'm open-minded, maybe decentralized data is a good thing. But so far there's been 100,000 videos uploaded. That's tiny. Think of how many YouTube videos have been uploaded or Facebook videos. So it's still a small platform with 240,000 downloads of the app. But I think it's worth checking out. And especially if you are interested in companies that are really focused on ethical behavior. That's what Blue Sky is, focused on transparency and, being a community-centric social media company and tech company. All right, so I am going to post Skylight into the chat. We're going to look at that really briefly and then move on. So let's get this in our screen share. In the future, I might have someone helping me so I can easily produce this podcast. But right now, I'm a one-woman show, so thank you for being patient while I paste my links. All right, this is a cool website. Get in, loser. We're decentralizing. Okay, cool. The unbannable short-form video platform. Well, what's happening with this marketing? They are totally taking on TikTok. I like that. All right, the best part, you're in full control. Okay, 32 million users. Interesting. I read 240,000 downloads. So it must be, yeah, that's interesting. All right, platform built to serve users, not exploit them. So continue to explore Skylight Social and see if that's a good fit for you. All right, and we've got Leela, my kitty here in the background. She really wants to share some information. I don't know if you can hear. She's definitely trying to get my attention right now, so I apologize if you do hear her in the background. All right, let's move on to, yes, Leela, let's give her some love. All right, calm down. Calm down. All right, let's get on to our last piece of news here. This is about what I shared earlier, Google Vids. So Google has released a new video editing app that is available for free, and it does have AI features. Those AI features are available if you are a member of Google Workspace. So what you can do for free, you can record, you can upload media from a slide, you can use anything within Google Drive. And you can also use templates and convert slides to a video. Now, if you do have the paid plan, Google Workspace, you can do things like image to video, you can use AI avatars, and you can do transcript trimming. Now, what I really see here with Google is they are competing. So many companies, tech companies, are releasing video tools and video applications. And, Google is really going hard with their AI features. And those AI features are very much video based. So the AI avatars, Google Vio, which is text to video. But what's interesting, the transcript trimming is in direct competition to Descript. Descript was one of the first companies to come out with transcript trimming, which means the transcript of your video. You can literally edit the transcript and that will edit your video clips together. Just a completely, really revolutionary way of editing. And many companies are starting to copy that, including Google. All right, so I want to give you a demo. Let's go for it. Let's go ahead and look at Google Vids together. This was just released for free today to everybody. So I just checked it out earlier today. Let me go ahead and share the screen here. All right, so here we are, Google Vids. Okay, so I am already connected within the Google ecosystem in Google Drive. I'm always using Google Drive, especially for video stuff. Honestly, throughout my whole video career, I've been using Dropbox, but much more often using Google Drive just to upload videos for clients and to store videos. It's just great. So I think this is a very kind of natural evolution of Google to have this specific app. So we can record, we can upload anything. Wow, any media from our drive we can upload. We have templates, and then you can convert any slides. So I can see this being, really popular with startup companies, with any kind of, really any business that's already using Google Drive. Now let's look at the templates. So we've got, some pretty standard templates here: celebrations, trip highlights, tutorials, a day in the life. Okay, so let's click on one of these. Let's see, there's a lot. So you guys might not know, Google has had a lot of design features. So they probably used some of the same templates. They made it available as video templates. So how about this? Okay, I'm indecisive. Let's do this one. Let's do online service intro. Okay, so I've chosen my template. Now I want to insert all scenes. So you can think of these scenes like slides. And I'm laughing right now in my head because Descript, that company Descript that I just mentioned, they also call video clips, they call them scenes, which is funny to me because a scene in my filmmaking video production mind, a scene is multiple clips together when you think of a scene. But they're talking about one clip. So you can essentially, for the beginners out there, just think of a slide. One slide is a scene, and it's a short video clip. See, this is only about 4.5 or 5 seconds long. Okay, so I've got a little friend in the background who wants my attention. So if you see me looking off screen, that's what's happening. All right, so yeah, we can go through any of these. Let's play it. Yeah, and honestly, these look like slides. I don't really call these like, these aren't like video graphics. I kind of script. But you do have ways, this is just the first iteration, at least of the free version. So hopefully they'll be adding more advanced features, but I wouldn't really count on it. I would, say maybe they'll add some more advanced graphics. I'm always interested in more advanced graphics. Just makes my life easier, especially for social media. But to me, these look like slides. But what is interesting, you can add your script. You can add stock videos. That's really cool. People are always looking for B-roll. You can add text. You've got lots of different, see, if you get creative, you go through all of these text templates, you can really start to do things that look like more advanced graphics. So I wouldn't completely rely on the templates ever, guys. You got to use your own creativity. All right. And then we have lots of templates. Yeah, so it's really interesting. I will say, I'll definitely be trying this out. I can't say I'm going to use it very often. It looks like very basic kind of video creation, and I don't really need that, but I do see that it can be useful to some people. I'm actually really interested in using the upgraded version, which uses Google VO. And I'm not so interested in the AI avatars. I'll stick with my face, a human face, like real human. But AI avatars are appealing to some people. And then the image to video sounds appealing as well. All right, so let me paste this. Did I paste it in the chat for you all? I want to make sure I get these resources to you so you guys can have them. All right, I'm going to paste all these resources in the description as well. But that basically is the end of the news for today. I've been on live for 32 minutes now. Let me check the chat here. All right, cool. So thank you for joining me. Please leave a comment, check out all of these new features and tools, and let me know, as you test them out, what you think of them. Are they useful? And I'm also open to any feedback on this podcast. I really just started this podcast about a month ago, and my goal is to do it every Thursday. I might be skipping next week, just a heads up, because I have a jam-packed day, but I do intend to get on a regular schedule and be bringing this news to you, because all of this stuff moves so fast and we've got to keep up with it all. So I hope all of this was really helpful to you, whether you're on live or you are on the replay. I really greatly appreciate all of you. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe. And I wish all of you a wonderful evening or morning, wherever you are in the world. And thank you so much for watching. All right, take care. I'll see all of you on the next podcast.